Welcome to Space Age Rabbit. Today, let's take a trip back in time and count down the top 10 shows of the 1952-1953 season. All right, so let's get right into it. At number 10, Fireside Theater. Fireside Theater was one of television's earliest anthology drama series. It premiered all the way back in 1949. It featured a different story each week, often focused on domestic life, relationships, and moral lessons. Critics dismissed the series, but it was a prime time staple during the early days of television, helping to pave the way for the anthology shows that would follow. Fireside Theater aired on Tuesday nights on NBC at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Ordinary cleansers can't clean me away when they don't get down here where I stay.
That's why you ought to try Babble. That's why you ought to buy Babble. That's why so many, many, many use Brighter, Babble.
Yes, Babble's power-packed suds work down into those porcelain pits. Sweep away sink smog in seconds. Babble cleans your sink brighter, whiter than any other cleanser in the world.
At number 9, You Bet Your Life. You Bet Your Life was a game show hosted by Groucho Marx. Each episode teamed up everyday people to answer trivia questions and try their luck at winning some money. The show featured a secret word, a random word revealed to the audience before the game started. If a contestant said it during the chat, a toy duck would drop from above with a bonus prize. Groucho's quick wit, dry humor, and off-the-cuff remarks made the show a fan favorite. You Bet Your Life aired on NBC on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern. At number 8, Gangbusters.
Philip H. Lord, Gangbusters.
Gangbusters was an anthology series based on real criminal cases, presented in a semi-documentary style. Each episode dramatized actual cases taken from law enforcement files and included interviews with professionals in the field. The series alternated weeks with Dragnet, and despite strong ratings, it was canceled after just one season. It was ultimately dropped to allow Dragnet to move to a weekly schedule. Gangbusters aired on NBC on Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern. At number 7, The Colgate Comedy Hour. The Colgate Comedy Hour was a live variety show featuring rotating hosts, comedy sketches, musical performance, and big-name guests. Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis were audience favorites, consistently drawing strong ratings with their wild, unpredictable antics. Other popular hosts included Donald O'Connor, Abbott and Costello, Eddie Cantor, and Bob Hope. In September of this season, Eddie Cantor suffered a heart attack shortly after hosting an episode. Unfortunately, he made a full recovery and returned to the hosting rotation in January. The Colgate Comedy Hour aired on NBC on Sunday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern. At number 6 is the Buick Circus Hour. The Buick Circus Hour was a variety show with a circus theme. Set within the colorful world of a traveling circus, each episode blended musical numbers, real circus acts, and dramatic storylines centered around the performers' personal and professional lives. The show followed Kim O'Neill, a young singer who had joined the troupe to be near circus owner Bill Southern, a boisterous, fun-loving giant of a man with whom she had fallen in love. Adding to the story was an aging clown who tried to help Kim navigate circus life. He had raised her since infancy, having adopted her nearly 20 years earlier. The series was broadcast every fourth week in the time slot usually occupied by Texas Star Theater. The Buick Circus Hour aired on NBC once a month on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern. And at number 5 is Texaco Star Theater.
By your Texaco dealer, the best friend your car has ever had.
Texaco Star Theater was a variety show hosted by comedian Milton Berle, whose outrageous costumes, slapstick humor, and ability to continually draw in a large TV audience earned him the nickname Mr. Television. The show offered a mix of comedy sketches, musical performances, and guest stars, all delivered with Texaco's signature branding and live commercial spots, at least up to this point. This would be Texaco's final season as sponsor. They ended their involvement at the close of the 52-53 season. However, the show continued under a new name, The Buick-Burrell Show, with Milton Berle still the star. Texaco Star Theater aired on NBC on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern. Coming in at number 4 is Dragnet. By the 1952-53 TV season, Dragnet had already established itself as a standout series, thanks in part to its creator and star Jack Webb, who played the straight-laced Sergeant Joe Friday. This season also addressed a significant cast change. Barton Yarborough had played Friday's partner Ben Romero for 3 years on the radio and appeared in just 2 episodes of the TV version before his untimely death at the age of 51. The character's absence wasn't directly dealt with in the first season, but the character Ben Romero's death was explained in the second season's episode, The Big Sorrow. Joe Friday was then paired with Sergeant Frank Smith, originally played by Herb Ellis, and soon after recast with Ben Alexander, who would go on to become Joe Friday's most well-known partner on the series. Dragnet aired on NBC, alternating weeks with Gangbusters, on Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern. At number 3, Arthur Godfrey and His Friends. Arthur Godfrey and His Friends entertained audiences with live musical numbers, comedy skits, and the easygoing charm of its host. The show was broadcast live, and Arthur Godfrey often tossed aside the script in favor of improvised moments, which became a signature part of its appeal. Godfrey had been one of the biggest radio stars of the 1940s, and his friendly demeanor translated perfectly to television. The show followed the standard variety format, featuring Godfrey alongside a group of regular performers. Among them was singer Julius LaRosa, who had quickly rose in popularity and even surpassed Godfrey in fan mail. Their relationship would take a dramatic turn just a year later in 1953, when Godfrey famously fired LaRosa on the air during his morning radio show. Arthur Godfrey and His Friends aired on CBS on Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern.
She says, I'm an old maid, 53. I know my men and I know my tea. Just give me Lipton's, a cozy chair. Is one of the nice things about being outdoors. You just throw the tea bag on the grass. It's good for it. I know my men and I know my tea. Just give me Lipton's, a cozy chair, and the men can all go, you know where.
At number 2, Arthur Godfrey's Talent Scout. The premise of this show was that Arthur Godfrey had a panel of, quote, talent scouts, who each brought a new performer to showcase on the program. The winner was chosen based on audience applause, measured by a special meter. While framed as a talent search, many of the contestants were already professionals with some experience, which helped keep the overall quality of the act surprisingly high. Arthur Godfrey's Talent Scouts aired on CBS on Monday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. So we have made it to the number 1 show of the 1952-1953 season. Can you guess what it is? The number 1 show of the 1952-53 season is I Love Lucy. I Love Lucy debuted in 1951 and quickly became one of the most beloved sitcoms on television. Starring Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz as Lucy and Ricky Ricardo, the show followed the misadventures of a curious, starry-eyed housewife who constantly dreamed of breaking into showbiz, much to the dismay of her husband. Set in the Ricardos' New York City apartment, the series also included Lucy and Ricky's best friends and landlords, Fred and Ethel Mertz. Lucy's humor blended physical comedy, perfect timing, and zany mischief, making even the simplest situations unforgettable. I Love Lucy set the standard for television comedies and helped shape the future of sitcoms for generations to come. I Love Lucy aired on CBS on Monday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern. So that's it, the top 10 shows of the 1952-1953 season. Did any of these surprise you? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video and like this sort of content, please consider subscribing. And thank you so much for watching.
Brush your teeth with Colgate. Colgate Dental Cream. It cleans your breath. What a toothpaste. Well, it cleans your teeth. Colgate toothpaste. Cleans your breath. What a toothpaste. Well, it cleans your teeth.